In this section, I'm going to give examples for each of the POSM categories that we talked about earlier. So one thing is, of course, to read what kind of POSM that you can actually create, but another thing is actually seeing it and seeing all different kind of examples of how that actually could look like. So take the examples of glassware, which is the first category that I will show a few examples of. So there are three categories over here, as mentioned: glassware, disposable cups, and reusable cups. So again, these can take many different forms. They can go from very uniquely created designs and glasses to actually some kind of just one-off plastic glasses where you just have your logo on. So for instance, here with the very premium 1664 Blanc glass, you see how it actually fits the whole brand well of 1664 Blanc. So if you are aware of this brand, they have a blue bottle. You see how they made the blue color down here to make the connection between the bottle and the glass. You have the twist in the glass as well, which is very related to the slogan, which is 1664 Blanc with a twist, because it has some kind of lemon flavor in it. So here again, you would see how all of this is created very uniquely for the brand. But as mentioned, it can also just be these one-off glasses where you put a bit of logo on it, or it can be reusable cups that are made in plastic, but again where you also put your logo on, or anything else, maybe a message or something similar. So even within the glassware section, there are multiple different options you can use, and also if it needs to be environmentally friendly, maybe even paper cups as well is an option as well. So the next category that we were talking about is the serving materials, and the serving materials also has a ton of different options, going from bar runners, as you see up here, which is the bar runner that you put in front on the bar table. So when you're waiting to get your product, or when you just ordered your brand, you probably get a glass with the product inside, and then you can put it on the bar runner here to ensure that the table is not damaged, for instance. It can be bottle openers, which can be very standardized, as you see down here, just with some logo, but it can also be very uniquely, as you see the one up here, which is a Grimbergen bottle opener that was made with the Phoenix itself. So very clever, but also cost obviously a little bit more than the one that are just the standard POSM materials. Then you can have trays, which can also take many different forms, and ice buckets as well, which can be both in plastic, but it can also be metal. So there are again many different options when it comes to serving materials. Another great one when it comes to beverage companies, for instance, is these beer towers or cocktail towers that you can also create uniquely for your brand as well. And this is something that will give an extra experience for the shoppers and consumers when they are at a restaurant or bar, discotheque, etc. Because here they will actually get to serve the beers themselves. So something that can create a unique experience for the shoppers, consumers as well. The next section is clothing. So again, this is all kind of clothes that you can think about. I try to made a list here of what kind of different categories within clothing that you can find, but it can be hats, caps, shirts, polo shirts, aprons, hats, t-shirts, etc., etc. So basically all kind of different clothing. So again, this is something that you can use for staffs, for brand ambassadors, for giveaways, for staff if you're using a sampling, for instance. So ensure that they have the right branding and clothes as well when they are handing out samplings. So again, there are multiple different usage cases for clothing, but it's something that's very important as well, and is used very often in marketing and shopper marketing, and is a great POSM as well. Then there is the merchandise, and the merchandise section is a very broad one, because it's basically all kind of merchandise that you can use. So again, I made a list here of the examples that I could find, but there might even be more out here, especially in this merchandise section, because it can basically be anything you can give away. But it can be something like earphones, it can be this kind of music box, for instance, if your brain is all about the music. Headphones as well, some bigger ones here, or even sunglasses. I've also received some sunglasses myself, for instance, when I was at a festival. It can be these kind of bags, cooler bags, or USB sticks. So all kind of different way that you can give out merchandise. So all kind of different items that you can give out as merchandise is within this category of POSM, and these are just a few examples of it. They can be very premium, they can be a bit cheaper if you just want some mass merchandise, but depending on your brand and depending on where you sit within the scale of premiumness, you might want to invest a bit more in the quality, etc., for that merchandise that you're giving out. Then there is the printed POSM. So just recalling, this is everything that you are able to print on a piece of paper or a carton. So this also can take many different kind of shapes and forms. So here, for instance, is the packaging for a 6-pack. It can be this kind of shelf space taker, where you can communicate some kind of information. It can be notebooks, can also be the shelf fins that you see up here. It can be table talkers, which is this one, or it can be pallet wraps, shelf wobblers, as you see here, that can convey promos, price, and the last minute communication that when you have the shopper right in front. So then again, there are multiple different POSM when it comes to printed POSM. The last category is the multi-dimensional POSM. So recalling, these ones are the ones that are usually more expensive to create, and some of them might even require that you have some kind of workers to build them, because they might even be made out of wood or made out of different kind of materials. So this is something that's usually not flat or anything, but something that can be used in different angles. So a good example here is a fridge, for instance. A fridge is something that you spend a lot of money on, so it also have a lot of, it's very effective, so it's something that you should use if you want to convey some kind of fresh produce. It can also be A-boards, for instance, as mentioned, or chairs, even signs outside restaurants and bars to convey that your brand is within this restaurant. Can be bottle glorifiers, or lighting as well. So this is a lamp which shows the Grimbergen that you can plug in and it will light up with your brand. It can also be multi-dimensional displays, for instance, can still be made in as a print, but can also be made as more premium materials, where it's made in wood or metal or something similar, where you usually would require someone that is building it up. So there are multiple different variants of multi-dimensional POSM, but these are just some examples of them. So this concludes the chapter of the terminology and also examples of POSM and how we talk about POSM. So there are a ton of POSM out there. So don't just think of the standard display leaflets. There are a lot of other types that you can try and test out, and these were some of them.